What's going on, everybody? You know who it is. This is Austin, and this is the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about real estate and we talk about lifestyle. Today's guest is definitely a good friend of mine. We've done some business in the past, and today we get into the topic of money. Money and numbers. What's coming in versus what's going out. And that's going to determine what's going to come in the future. Straight like that. So, a little bit of housekeeping before we get in. Be sure to subscribe on austinsmithrealestate.com. Get the podcast episodes, the articles, the videos sent straight to you as we continue to share this knowledge. And if this podcast has had any benefit or added any value to you, yourself, your business, let me know. Log into iTunes, leave me a rating and review. Let's continue to share this sugar. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the show. What's going on, everybody? Today on the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, you know, every single time I have to make a mention on how hard it is kind of to get these guests because people run busy lives, especially these entrepreneurs, these real estate investors, these go-getters, these hustlers. And today's guest probably, I think, was the longest. Yeah, we were actually supposed to do this recording a while ago, but just with both of our schedules, it's real tough and hectic to kind of bring both of us together. But we finally got an opportunity. Today's guest is an author. He's an entrepreneur. He's a motivator. He's a real estate investor. He wears many, many, many hats. And I'm glad I finally got a chance to get him on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to B.R.O.K.E Graves. B.R.O.K.E. Shay, thank you for taking the time.
What's up, man? What's up? Long time coming, man. Finally getting a chance to come together, man.
Thank you for taking the time to come on to the show. I greatly appreciate it. We'll jump right into this because I know your schedule is hectic. It's the spring market. Things are getting popping. So let's jump into this. I think one of the staples of you know, how I see you run your business, how I see you kind of run things over in your area. I want to talk about B.R.O.K.E the book, because this I'm pretty sure is one of your trophies. I'm pretty sure it's your baby. Let's talk about that. Talk to us about the book B.R.O.K.E.
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, definitely very proud of it, man. Released the book about 2 years ago. B.R.O.K.E's actually an acronym, man. So what I want people to do is live a broke lifestyle, man. Everyone talks about, you know, living lavish or doing this or doing that. But in actuality, man, if you actually can hone in on the principles of this book and live a broke lifestyle, man, you can accomplish those goals and get to where it is you want to be. So B.R.O.K.E actually stands for budgeting, risk, opportunity, keeping 10% of your income, eliminating debt. But there's actually a bonus chapter. You can't really talk about eliminating debt without establishing credit, which makes the book actually a 6-chapter book. And I do include that bonus chapter in it. So more or less, man, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you. Before we even dive into each one of those acronyms, can you kind of give us an idea of how you got started, like what led you up to this point that made you want to write the book?
Exactly. So that's very, very interesting. So actually, man, I started out going to Rowan University, was slated to graduate in 2011. 2010 actually hit some bumps in the road and was kicked out of school. You know, sold weed to an undercover cop at Rowan University. And actually am a convicted felon to this day as a result of that. So at that point, was kicked out of school. All I really had was an $8 an hour Burger King job. And I was like, man, 20 years old, you know, just kind of really figure out the world. And I'm like, man, like, I'm not trying to be like a bum, more or less. You know what I mean? Like, I was in college, I was on a radio station, 3.1 GPA, 92 credits. And then to like have nothing, you know, you're sitting at home, sleeping in, you know, in a room with your brother, or in a basement, and you know, all you got is Burger King, you know, no education, nothing. So I started learning about real estate. Actually, one of my advisors at Rowan who kind of knew my situation and knew that I was kind of getting into some hot water, gave me a book called Ordinary People, Extraordinary Wealth. I believe Rick Edelman was the author of that, if I'm not mistaken. I got to kind of fact check that. But from then on, man, I was like, wow, people really have like $100,000 in the bank, $200,000 in the bank, like in different accounts, and not even like the main account, like one account. So I was like, yo, man, I want to work on that. So just jumped into the Suze Orman, man. Everyone you can think of, Robert Kiyosaki, obviously Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you name it, you name the guru, I pretty much read it, followed it, studied it. Bigger Pockets, got into that, learning about real estate. So after doing that, I realized, like, yo, our people didn't really have much of a voice. There was nobody out there looking like us that was doing it. So I said, let me spin it, right? Because the black community, what do we like to do? We like to get fly and do this and do that and impress. But really what we're doing is we're eroding our wealth. We're not building anything. We're wearing it all, but we're not putting nothing away. So I sat down and I was like, man, I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted to be here forever or have something here tangible forever, when I'm not here, be on the properties, something that I can lead and teach and just spread. So I sat down one day, man, I met with a few people, got connected with some good people to really kind of lead me along the way and help me really produce it. And before you know it, man, 8 months later, B.R.O.K.E 6 Keys to Building Wealth was here. And, been just spreading the gospel ever since, man, more or less.
I love it, man. I love it. And we've had certain conversations about, kind of what had happened. And, we talked on the side about that. And, yeah, that's obviously another story. So, it's amazing to see how you've been able to turn that around and actually use that same kind of pain to now create your passion. So
absolutely,
we have wrote the book. Let's because I want to tie that into just the successful money habits that we need to develop continuously. And
sure.
I feel like the acronyms that are within B.R.O.K.E kind of spell that out and exactly what you should be doing. So break that down for us.
Definitely. So first and foremost, man, you need a map. You got to know where you're going. And what is that? That's a budget. A budget is a map to your money. So tell everyone, you can't go somewhere you've never been without directions. I don't care if it's a map, old school, maybe something you used 20 years ago, or it's a GPS. Shoot, they're in your phone every day. Everyone has one in their phone, or it comes with your car, So if you have a place you're trying to get to, you have a destination you're trying to accomplish, or you say you want to accomplish with your finances or with your money, how are you going to get there? You need a roadmap, which is that budget that spells that out for you. And we're just going over this really, really quick. Obviously, I'll give people more information so they can go and dive in deeper later. But the next thing, man, is like I know, man, you ain't getting nothing without any risk, right? And what is risk? Risk is investing. So with that being said, I'm not saying it has to come after the budget, but it needs to be pretty high up on that list, man. You got to be really taking some risk to really, really make it. The next thing is opportunity. Or really, when I talk about opportunity, I'm talking about the time value of money. You got to understand what money does, how it works, how putting it into an engine or into a machine and giving it the right environment, what does that do? What does that mean long term? So understanding compounding interest, understanding frequency and time and things of that nature to understand how to actually make your money grow effectively. If you don't really understand that, you don't understand the long-term effect of money. Because, man, what? We've been on this around for a little while. This is a get rich slow and get rich quick, but it's longevity. You know what I mean? And we're building wealth.
Right.
And that's what opportunity really speaks about, giving your money the right opportunity to grow and incubate. The next thing that's really important is keep. So K is keep 10%, no matter whether it's real estate money, business money, cleaning business money, tax business money. I still work job money. 10% of everything goes away into an emergency fund. I don't care what it is. 10%. People.
And are you doing that 10% per month, or what's your...
Every time I touch money, period. A check comes in, 10% of that goes away. A commission comes in, 10%. Paycheck comes in, 10%. I get some deposits from some tax returns that I do. I write myself a 10% check because it goes into my business account, and I write myself a 10%. 10% of that number goes into my personal account, my emergency fund. Not any other account I am never going to touch. That's FU money, which is basically how many days can you go without working money. That takes time to build. but I'm building it. You know what I mean? If my car breaks down or whatever happens, I ain't worried about it. I got it. You know what I mean? Um, at this point, something catastrophic would have to happen for me to be in a position that I couldn't handle that, um, more or less. So back into keep, or that's more or less what you want to do. Skim 10% of everything, and this is the way I look at it. Right? People go to church and they tithe. Right? What do you tithe? 10%. So you have to pay yourself a tithe. That's what K, or keeping 10% of that, really is. Pay yourself your tithe whenever that money comes in. You know, so that's the way I look at it. You tithe in church, tithe to yourself. Point blank, period. And that's got to come off the top first. You are your first bill. All right. If we keep it going, we're going into eliminating debt, which is pretty simple. Pay on your credit cards. But in the book, man, we actually go into it a little bit deeper. And what we talk about are some programs that are available to people to get debt relief, different jobs or career avenues that might offer relief in regards to debt, and I mean student loans. We talk about those different things. We talk about tuition reimbursement, just different things like that that help alleviate debt. And then we talk about some habits that also can help you to alleviate the debt as well. Debt, you know, you're chopping down a tree depending on the position that you're in. So this is not a quick thing. It's something that's going to take time. But you got to be steadfast and you got to be diligent. You got to be consistently doing it. Just like you're consistently saving or you're consistently investing. You got to be consistently paying down debt over time. And of course, man, you can't really talk about debt without talking about credit. So we also talk about establishing credit. I don't call myself a credit expert, but I do know the basics that are the key pillars in regards to establishing that. And then I got enough people around me to where if someone comes to me for it, I ain't trying to make all the money. I'm gonna shoot you with my credit guy, my main. You know what I mean? I got a couple of different people that I use, but I got a main guy that I'm like, yo, hey, referral for you, boom, get this person right. You know what I mean? And if I need to shoot something off of them, I got enough to where I can handle, you know, the basics. But I do go into the key pillars of establishing that credit profile and making sure you're in a good position to buy a car, buy a loan, get good insurance rates, get that job. Because, bro, people don't realize how much credit affects everything you do. Everything. It talks about, people look at credit now as a measurement of character because they look at you as, if you're compromised in any way, it's going to be a little tougher for you to maybe be trustworthy. You know, somebody might come to you with a couple of dollars and you might say, hey, man, it might compromise your integrity. Because you might say, man, I'm in a little bit of financial trouble. Maybe I'll take this over here to alleviate, you know, my situation over there, you know. So that's kind of the philosophy of it and why jobs go about checking credit. It's a trustworthiness thing, and they really want to be careful with people who might be in financial constraint because they fear that it might put them in a position to compromise their integrity down the line. So very, very important. That's pretty much, you know, the ins and outs of the book, man. We got about 140 some odd pages. I mean, it's a you know, a pretty easy read. A read you can read it in a few days. And the way the book is interactive, man. You know, I say read it with a pen or a pencil because there's places you can. You got the book. Big supporter over there, much appreciated. You know, you saw how the book kind of goes through, and it's something for you. It's a reference. It's something that you should look at all the time for the rest of your life. It's not something you look at or pick up once and then you put it down, because there are broke action steps within the book. Listing your monthly expenses, listing 3 of your favorite companies. That could be 3 companies that you may want to eventually purchase stock in. So different things like that. And that's pretty much the book. There's tips on curbing your budget as well. You got about 10 tips in there. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of good stuff in there.
That's awesome, man. And for those listening, whoever's listening, if you do share this show when it does go live on my social media platforms and my website, if you share this on your platforms, let me know, take a picture or a screenshot, and you will get a copy of the book for free on me. And we can just keep spreading the knowledge. If you had to pick one, right?
And we'll work something out with that too, Austin. We'll work something out with
that's
that.
Cool. Right? It's all the opportunity and putting that opportunity out there. And you know, you've already done your part by creating the book and speaking and, you know, motivating people to kind of take charge of their finances. If you had to pick, because, you know, by the time this episode releases, we'll be in, you know, probably the second quarter. We're in the second quarter of the year.
Yep.
If somebody who maybe it was on their New Year's resolution, their New Year's goals list to take control of their finances, from every single one of those acronyms, what if they had to focus on one over the course of the next month? What would you say
Hmm.
that number one, which strategy they should implement immediately, or which habit should they implement immediately?
If I had to say one that I guess could kind of help grow legs for everything else, it would definitely be budget. First chapter, which is also the thickest chapter in the book.
Mm,
Um, that has the most information because let's think about it. If you don't know where your money is going, how can you allocate it to other places?
mm,
So the reason why we stress the budget first is because now we know if our living expenses are X, now I have X amount to allocate to debt, saving, and investing. And if you're not putting money to those four places, you're never going to be wealthy. You got to obviously you have to live. We're breathing, we're living, we're eating, we're moving around, we're conducting our lives daily. So that's a given, right? But then you have to be saving, you have to be investing, and you got to be paying down debt. All three of those at the same time. I don't care if you take a dollar and break it down into four quarters, but each one of those quarters must go into a different bucket, point blank, period. And if you're not doing that consistently, hey, you won't get where you got to go. And there does take some amount of sacrifice, you know. There takes some curbing, you know, in regards to lifestyle. If you want to accomplish these goals, it sucks. You know, like I know, you ain't gonna sleep like you want to sleep. You ain't gonna get to go out like you want to go out. But at the end of the day, if you want to get these goals, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
the money part, especially for me, you know, it's the ongoing battle between the emotional and the logical view
Mm,
of money.
mm.
And what I mean by that is, you know,
Yo, that's
money,
big. What you just said
right?
right there.
Because money, it it's awesome, right? So like
Yeah.
you know, it allows you to do things. It allows you to travel. It allows you to, you know, go join the organization that you want. It go, you know, it just allows you to do stuff.
Think about it like this, Austin. You know, cats like me and you, like we've been blessed to this point, and there's times where we might come into a situation where we might have something in our hand, and the number might look pretty nice, and we might be able to say, I can go and book this flight to go here, or I can go to this dinner here. But guess what? Our businesses and our endeavors are going to stop if we don't put it back into the engine. If we don't put it back into what's keeping us going, you know, building our investments. So that's big what you just said in regards to, you know, the feelings that go along with the money because you can be put in a position based on something you might want to do or get or have with this money to make you maybe feel good when we know that long run, if we really want to get to where we want to go and accomplish these goals, the money needs to go here. So
Right,
yeah,
right. And
man, that's big what you just said.
I think they you know, it just, you know, the logical part is missed. Even in my, you know, finances, it's missed sometimes because at the end of the day, like money is numbers. And numbers is just math. What's coming in versus what's going out. What's working and what's not working, right? So it's interesting that you say a budget because, you know, and I use Mint. I use Mint.com to kind of track my
Dope.
expenses.
And I
And
put that in the book too.
okay, yeah, it's an excellent app. And you'd be surprised, right? So like, you know, and you can set budgets within it. Like, yo, listen, I only want to spend X amount of money on food and dining for this month, right? Because then what I also think people need to do is like you need to understand yourself, right? Because like no one wants to have to restrict all these things to the point where life is extremely boring, but you're going to have to find a way to work with what you like. So, for example, if you know that you like shopping, like it's just one of those things where as much as you try to control it, you just can't. No problem. It is what it is. Instead of trying to fight yourself and beating yourself up when you don't get that accomplished day in and day out, instead, budget it. Like, nothing's too
Yeah, you
expensive when it's
break it
budgeted.
down.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like nothing's too expensive when it's budgeted. So, you know, and obviously you have certain tiers that you have to, you know, take care of first and which are more important. But if you think of like a funnel, if you think of it on a funnel, in the top goes your investing money, your living expenses for months, years, you know, that budget, you know,
Absolutely.
everything,
Absolutely.
anything to, you know, whatever the case, paying yourself, like that's the big part. and then it goes to like your normal expenses, and then at the very, very, very bottom, you have your play money. And if you do it
Yep.
right, you'll have so much play money that you can spend hundreds, you like tens, hundreds, thousands, and it still won't affect you because you put the bulk of your money in what needs to be generating money. I mean, it's the 80-20
Yes.
rule, if anything. You know what I mean? But you attain
Yes.
that 80-20 how to say, you achieve that 80-20 kind of success when you're applying each one of these principles, and 80% of your money is being used to bring and create more wealth, and 20% is being spent on expenditures. But even at that point, you're still just creating, and with velocity, with the time value of money, it grows to the point where you don't have to worry about it as much. I mean, we're all working to get to that point.
Absolutely. And another big thing too, man, is like we've been blessed to do a lot of this in our 20s, our mid 20s when we started a lot of this. Now we're approaching 30. But we know that our 30s are going to be very fruitful because of what we set up in our 20s, and we know that our 40s, man, my goodness, I don't even know what that's going to look like, bro. But because we sacrificed and we put certain things in place, and we were able to kind of understand and grasp those things. And also, I just wanted to touch on delayed gratification. You kind of really were just basically speaking on that. And you got to understand that, man, it gets greater later. And you really, you're having fun, but like if you taking that trip and you couldn't buy that trip twice, you couldn't pay for that plane ticket twice, you probably really shouldn't have went. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have what's in the bank already, like if you don't have what you're spending on that trip in the bank twice already, like you really shouldn't be going on that trip. You know what I mean? If you're struggling, wasn't the best financial move, Now I get it. You want to experience, you want to do this, you want to do that. But 20 years from now, man, guess what? That experience ain't paying no bills. It's nice to talk about, but you're struggling. How do you look now? Bro, I'm not working till I'm 70. I'm not working. And that's where it's going to be. You know what I mean?
It's not the way. And I feel like, what's interesting? I feel like millennials have caught on. Just like with this whole like wave of is college necessary? Like we've seen what our parents are, the people that are older than us, in that generation, we see what they struggle with, working the same job, not being able to retire. So, as millennials, we've been able to catch on like there's something different. But for whatever reason, we don't do what we need to do with money, even though we know all these things, but we don't do it for some reason. What would you say from the people that you talk to, what would you say is like the one thing that, like, if there is, is there a reoccurring pattern in what you see as far as why people's finances aren't the way they are, or why their finances aren't what they would like them to be?
Okay, it's two things, man. One is just not really understanding. Some people don't really. So what I learned was that wealth is wealth is planned. Wealth is a thing that is strategized. It's intentional. So if you're not living your life intentional and you're just kind of getting up every day and just kind of doing, and thinking like, oh man, I want to go out. I'm just gonna go buy food, but like you didn't check the bank account to see like what food you should be buying. Like, am I going to Whole Foods? Am I going to Wegmans? Am I going to ShopRite? Or am I going to Save a Lot? You get what I'm saying? You got to put yourself in a bracket based on where you. And what we do is we sometimes say, all right, guess what? And these are people that may know. Because one, I really was just speaking about ignorance, you not knowing. But then there's another group of people who are also ignorant, but also just are like, man, well, forget it. I'm living for today. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, which is true. But that's why we do kind of mix it up, and you do give yourself some fun money. You always allocate to the fun money, which I speak about in the book. But at the same time, I'm here to move the culture forward. I'm here to leave this place better than what it was when I got here. So for me, it's all about direction. If you don't live an intentional life, then you're not really going to care about it. So what I notice what separates us, especially in this age group, are the people who are intentional, already are doing these things, or already without maybe having all the information. But they just feel that it's the right thing to do. Even if they don't necessarily have the knowledge portion down, they're automatically savers. They automatically don't spend too much. They have a loose budget. They might not be tight because the teaching and information will kind of get them there. But because they are intentional, because they have direction, that's what is kind of leading them down that path. So more or less knowledge, and you got to live your life with a direction. If you don't have direction, you don't have the knowledge base, more than likely you're not really going to have wealth or have the pillars to be able to build wealth.
It's got to be a goal. I mean, it's just got to be a goal.
Like, a goal, exactly. Simple.
It's that simple, and it's like that with each and every other 5 or 6 other areas of our life, whether that's financial, whether that's business, personal,
our body,
physical, yes, mind and intellect, spirituality. Like, you have certain goals, and like the money is just another goal, and when you work towards it, it just happens. Like, it just happens.
It's funny, yo. It just happens, right?
it just happens. The opportunities start to present itself. You start walking into, situations where you're able to, just start building wealth and see what it looks like to actually start doing that. So then what that does for you is just that it reinforces everything that you've been telling yourself, like learning and then helping yourself implement, right? Because in the beginning, like, especially me starting the business, oh my goodness, right? So like it's crazy, and I'll tell people, like, listen, I made $15,000 my first year in the business, right? $15,000. In the second year I made it was either 25 or 30. And mind you, that's business money. That's not salary money. That's business money.
No, bro. I remember last year we had that conversation, and my jaw kind of dropped. Bro, you bought a property? Like, you weren't killing it, but you were committed.
So help, right? And buying it with my wife, which buying it with a partner, right? So like that was the first one, and then you get to a point where you don't, you can do other things. You can still purchase. Now you're in a better situation financially where now you can go buy those properties, like, without no problem. You know what I'm saying? Years later. But like, the interesting part is that, and we were talking about it, like, the risk was taken. Like, I put up my half. Like, I literally got a commission check, and didn't even see it. Didn't even see it, and went straight. It was gone. And not only that, you have to realize, like, all the business money that's coming in, you have to pay taxes out of that. So like, all of that is like not even like salary, here you go money. And I remember taking money out of my credit card, which obviously wasn't the best decision, but it was the best decision at that point. So took money on my credit card to make the deal happen, right? And now we're in a situation where...
Hold on, Austin. But what are you talking about? You're talking about risk. You're talking about the R in the book, which is necessary.
Risk. And I wouldn't even actually suggest that to everyone. It was just the fact that what had happened was I got so basically numb to the feeling of fear, considering the fact that I was like, listen, I jumped into the business, $15,000 my first year, and I'm still like, all right, what's up? Like, still ready to get it popping.
I think fear in real estate goes away after your second year. Once you make that first big repair, or you got to do a roof, or you got that leaking basement or something like that, man, that goes out the window. I just did a sewer last month, and I got to do a basement, a waterproofing job, same property this month. Like, you talking 5 Gs. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm gonna make it happen. You have to.
Right, and like, real estate is just like, it changed my life, especially on the investment side. And that's only with my portfolio is small compared to other.
We're small. We're small. And I wanted to speak on that, man.
And it's changed. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. What's real estate have done like for you, as far as because it's not your main, but it is you implementing just diversification and putting money in areas and opportunities that it can grow.
I wouldn't have wrote the book, man. I was able to write the book because I was living in the upstairs of my duplex for free. I bought the duplex similar to you. We have a similar story. Downstairs, I walked into not only a commission from buying the home and being my own agent, I walked into the rent of the fact, because I bought it on the 12th and the landlord didn't want the rent. He let me keep it.
Oh my god! And
then next thing so I'm buying a house with $4,000 in my pocket. Like I'm up 4 Gs, just like that. You know what I mean? Based off the commission and the rent, done, just like that. $4,000 with richer. Now I had to go put it back in the HVAC system, but it didn't come out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Right.
And that's important. And that's your whole heat.
And that's important. So yeah, man, it's allowed me to just get into these other businesses, man. I got a cleaning business now. I got a tax business now. Really getting ready to go ahead and push this book again. Got a couple different products I'm coming out with. Man, some other stuff too. I can't even think about it, but yeah, that's pretty much what it allowed me to do with other things. Because the thing is yeah, the real estate is one thing, but you gotta have something to keeping that real estate going. You know, the real estate is not going to just be end all be all. You gotta have something else driving that car.
Right.
And I just wanted to go back and say, you know, to the listeners, like, you know, me and you are not where we want to be, nowhere at all. But we have assets. You know, we have income producing assets. Guess what? If something went bad this month, we're not going to miss a meal next month. You know what I mean? Like, we're okay.
Right.
Content, no, but blessed and in a good position to keep on building and to be very, very abundant in the future. So I just wanted to say that because people might think that we're not rich, but we're on our way. You know,
Right. And
we're building wealth. We're building wealth. That's all we're doing. We're building wealth, man. One day at a time.
And some people's goals is to be like extremely, extremely wealthy, and some people is just like, listen, you know, I want to make sure that I just got, you know, I call it your freedom number, and I'll just elaborate on that, and then we'll talk about just what's next for you before we get into the core four,
cool.
As we start our descent. And it's so funny, right? Your freedom number, your freedom. Here's how it could be so easy for you. Your freedom number, whatever your freedom number is your budget. And what that means is, if you want to live in the prestigious neighborhood, in the affluent neighborhood, and it's going to cost you $4,000 to do that, okay, awesome. $4,000. You want to drive the Ferrari for $1,800 a month off the lease if you want to, fine, no problem. Throw that up there. You want to eat out every month, you know, $1,000 on eating out and doing this and doing that, cool. $1,000 a month on travel, $2,000, whatever the case, cool. Put that on there. If you're, you're raising a family, your childhood daycare expenses, boom, all your groceries, all the way down to the cable subscription, whatever the case. That number is $10,000 a month. Okay, now you know how much passive income you need, and that'll just give you a start. Like that'll like you get that in passive income. You're especially in a wealth building asset, you don't need much after that. You obviously still have your active money, but like it could be that simple. And it's obviously us that are making it complex, but it's that simple. And it's all the way down to the I want $3,000 a month to just reinvest. Cool, that's your freedom number, but you obviously have to set that up and properly
and know what that looks like. You gotta know what it looks like.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, yes. What is next? What's next for you? You mentioned that you were working on some
funny, man. Next. Yeah. So actually, next month, man, we're gonna be doing some things with B.R.O.K.E Finance. Check out the website at B.R.O.K.E Finance.com. Haven't updated it too much lately, but we'll be getting back into that. Actually, getting in the process of releasing an ebook version of the book. So we'll talk more, and your listeners will be able to get some special offers based on. You know, man, we do stuff together, so we'll work something out for your people. So getting ready to push the book again. I actually just bought a van for the cleaning business, so getting another crew on the road. And then I'm looking to get a 4 to 8 unit building this summer as well. To add, I got 4 units right now, so looking to add to the portfolio and increase that by 50% plus this summer. So that's the big thing, man. And you know, I got to the point now where like I got so much going on to where I'm okay with slowing down and focusing and honing in on this project because I still work and I got enough going on to where like I'm realizing like you don't gotta rush it, you know, but just be actively working on it. You know, as long as you're taking steps towards it every day, you're fine. Like you have time, but you can't waste time. You know, because if you're doing nothing, that time's going by pretty quickly. But if you're actively pursuing and building something, then it's okay. You do understand, and we know, bro. Real estate moves slow. It's slow money. But boy, does it pay nice. So that's pretty much it, man. You know, without getting too deep into it, those are kind of the imminent things over the next month or two that I got going on.
Awesome, boss. Awesome. We're gonna jump into the core four, which are the 4 questions that I ask each and every guest on the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, and this gives the audience a chance to know the man behind the machine. Question number 1: what is your favorite aspect about real estate?
Ooh, I think seeing something jacked up and then just kind of making it pretty, man. That transformation process, I think that's really, really cool. Rehabbing is really fun. Stressful as hell, but fun.
I am not the most handyman at like
Oh,
handiest
bro, at all.
at
I pay people to
all.
do everything.
I'm trying. It is on my goal is to learn how to do tile and at least sheetrock and at least demo, just so I can like just save on some of the costs. But I painted a wall the other day. Like I painted a room, and I was like, yo, that was actually pretty fun. Like just changing
Right.
and creating something like in front of you. And this
Yes.
was only painting a wall. Like it just goes to show like how like unhandy I am because I like
hmm
yeah lifted up a paintbrush and now like I want to go do tile
Don't
and
feel no
like
kind of way, bro. I'm the
uh,
same, man.
it's cool. It's cool, man. The okay. Question number 2: favorite business or personal development book?
Ooh, so I mean, we gonna leave Rich Dad Poor Dad off of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if I can really just share one with people, man, I would say The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod. Really just
Mm,
really, really good personal development book, man. Just talks about savers, getting up in the morning, praying, meditating, working out, reading a book, writing a journal. Just really big. I actually did that when I was writing my book. And in the book, you learn that a lot of people who actually take on these methods actually have like exponential results and going to make really, really big accomplishments. So one thing I will say is I did that while I was on my journey of writing my book. And it was fruitful for me. The next thing I would say, I'm reading this book. Shout out to Nip Hustle. Gotta throw that in there. But The Way to Superior Man. So reading that right now, or listening to it right now. Metaphysical book, love, spirituality. It talks about your purpose and passion. So very, very big book. Very good book for anybody that's just in a purpose and just trying to really figure their way out, man. Way to Superior Man, for sure.
love it, man. Love it. Question number 3: what are the fun things that you like to do in your spare time when you're not grinding, when you're not running 3, 4 businesses, 4 units, working, your job? What are you doing in your fun time?
Man, try to take a trip or two, concert. Man,
Mm.
I don't do too much, man. I'll be chilling, man. I'll like watch the game, kick it with my boys, man. But I just chill, man. I don't do too much. Probably travel and concerts, man. It's probably the 2 things I like to do the most.
Chilling is cheap.
Yeah, Gary, chilling is cheap, bro. Exactly. It is $3.99.
Chilling is cheap. Awesome,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
The last question, Shay, where can people find you at?
Um, definitely. So, like I said earlier, brokefinance.com, Instagram, Shay2Fly. I think I got an underscore in there. Shay_2_fly, FLI. It's a play on words. My LLC is Fly Enterprises LLC, or fulfilling the lives of individuals. So when you see my Twitter or my handles, Shay2Fly. So Shay_2_FLI, play on words, fly. Um, Facebook, Shay Graves. Look me up, search me. Twitter, I think it's Shay for short. So Shay_4_short. I believe it's FOR or the number 4 actually. Um, an email, barshayg@gmail.com. Reach out to me, any questions, comments, whatever the case is. It's on my cell phone. So Austin knows I might not get right back to you, but I'm going to get back to you.
But he'll get back to you. He'll get back to you. It's all the priorities, man. It's all the priorities.
Yeah. You know how it goes, bro. You
It's
know how it
hard.
goes, man.
It's
You
hard.
got something right now you're trying to do, and you like, I gotta block out everything else until this is done. Like, I saw you how your text messages are. They just like mine, 20, 30 at a time.
Yo, so
So,
before we even hopped on this episode, I had to write an offer, right? And
hmm
just to kind of piggyback on like how it is so important, especially for people that are self-employed, to really break it down. What is a priority right now? And perfect example,
okay.
right? So right before recording, I just came in from an appointment where we needed to submit an offer ASAP, right? So I literally had the option either write the offer or push the podcast back. And I couldn't push the podcast back because I had another appointment after that, right?
Check
So
you
you
out,
literally
grinding.
have to decide now. ASAP for an offer Totally understand. But at the same time, like, the offer is going to get in, no question. But at the end of the day, even if that offer gets accepted, we close, that is it. I'm only going to get paid for that particular transaction.
That's it, because it's transactional. Like you said, you have to
Transactional,
transact
right?
it to get paid. Yes.
Where the podcast is now part of marketing, which now continues to create opportunities for
Yep.
more checks.
Just like
Right?
the book.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, literally had to decide, like, right then and there, what is the most important? And for the time, like, it's what's going to create new business and new opportunities and new ways to help and lead individuals, and not what you're doing, you know, or not what feels important. So, totally agree, man. It is what it is. I know people got a lot of gems, a lot of jewels. They can definitely grab the book on me. If you share this episode when it does come live, just let me know that you did. You'll get a free copy on me. Implement the habits. There's nothing new, but it's just the fact that, you know, Shay puts it in a way that's easier for you to understand. And I think once you understand, and simplicity is power, you're able to act on those that are simple yet effective. They don't have to be complex. They just have to be simple
No,
and
man.
effective.
And just start.
And
That's the
start.
biggest thing. Just start. Like, get out there and just do. That's the most important thing.
Love it, man. Yo, Shay, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. I know it's been a long time
Yo, man,
coming.
long time coming, man. And let's do it again. I'm sure we'll do it again whenever, you know, when the time permits, man. There's so much going on, man. It was a pleasure, bro. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Take it easy, brother.
You already
Good
know,
luck.
man.
Keep the
Yep.
grind going, and we'll wind up
Most
talking
definitely.
inside.
You already know, man. I will get with you later, man. You have a good one, all right?
Enjoy, brother.
Yep. Later.